Hello everyone, my name is Tatiana and I am a PhD student in machine learning at the University of Oxford. This is weekly update about what is going on in machine learning community. If you're interested, then let's get started. In November, the conference on empirical methods in natural language processing came to an end, and researchers from Berkeley won the Best Paper Award for digitalizing silent speech. What does it mean? Silent speech is when you speak, but there is no voice, there is no sound, and your speech is not vocalized. How did they do it? How did they digitalize it? So they placed electrodes on face and neck and recorded electrical potential of muscle activities and then transcribed it into speech. So you don't need to speak out loud, you can just articulate your speech without producing any sound and it will be understood. That's really amazing. They mentioned that there are multiple applications for that, and I can imagine it can definitely change the way how we communicate to each other. Let's say if you're in a crowd and you don't want to be heard by people who are around you, but you want to call someone with a mobile phone, you don't need to speak loudly anymore. You can just articulate your speech and your counterparty will understand, but nobody around you will understand what you are talking about. Or if you're in a crowd and it's very loud, you don't need to scream anymore. You can just silently articulate your speech and people will understand what you are talking about. And for people with special health conditions who cannot vocalize their speech, this is also a very useful device. They conducted experiments on open vocabulary data and closed vocabulary data. The results on closed vocabulary were pretty amazing. It showed only 3.6% of transcription error, so it's very accurate. Unfortunately, on open vocabulary data, the results were not that amazing, but they are still better than their results shown by previous methods, and currently it's around 20 to 30% of transcription error. So this is something really amazing, and let's see how it will be commercialized in future. Facebook published several blog posts about the way how they tackle the problem of hate speech. Hate speech constitutes around 10% of all content, and it's over 20 million pieces of the content in a single quarter. So that's really a lot. And they claim that they increased the accuracy of their classification, and now it's almost 95% accurate in comparison with 80% accuracy last year. What is interesting is that this year the number of appeals reduced significantly. You can see it from this graph. But it seems that the reason for that is because they did not allow to appeal a lot due to COVID. That we can see in very, very small letters written below in this report. So how did they do it? How did they increase their accuracy? It's very interesting. They showed how they apply different techniques to detect hate speech, and in earlier time it was just simple classifier, then transformer-based models, and now it's their own in-house developed model XLM, cross-lingual model, and Linformer. It's a simplified version of transformer, which is supposed to be more efficient in terms of memory and time. And what is interesting, they added reinforcement learning to their process to make it adjusted to real life. So now I would say A/B testing is done online. That's might be why you need this Linformer very fast way of detecting hate speech. That's really interesting. So let's see what they will report next year about hate speech. It seems that monopoly of Facebook and Google over our personal data is coming to an end, at least in the UK. UK government announced the creation of special digital markets unit, which will have power over digital advertisers such as Facebook, Google, and others. It is expected that they will create the code of conduct by April 2021, and this code of conduct will give more control over personal data to users, and it will also regulate the access to data to make the market more competitive. At the same time, European Commission proposed new regulation on data governance. What is interesting, they proposed public reuse of data owned by public bodies. What does it mean? It means that if you are a member of European Union and you provided your data to public bodies, I don't know, maybe tax authorities or financial regulation authorities or your local government, and they collected this data may be reused for commercial purposes. On the one hand, it's good because the governmental bodies will not be able to monopolize their power over this data. On the other hand, it's very controversial whether this data shall be commercialized or not and reused by other companies. So there are multiple types of data which they specified. I will not go into details, but it's still controversial, I would say. Also, they specified their requirements to data sharing services. So it's now special thing, data sharing services. It's now regulated activity in European Union, so that's something you need to think about. And also they created a new concept of data altruism organizations. So these are organizations which provide access to data on non-for-profit basis, and it is expected that members of European Union will register such organizations. So that's something very interesting and good, I think, at least for research institutions and for public in general, if we will get access to more data and we will be able to do very interesting research. So that's all for today and for this week. Thank you for watching. If you liked my video, press like button, subscribe to my channel, and if you're interested to see what will happen next week in machine learning and AI community, subscribe to my channel.